I'm going to first introduce Valentina Inisquez, wave, so people know who you are.
Hi
Uh,
guys.
Okay, Valentina is in her final semester at FIT studying fashion business management. She's interning currently at Rag and Bone. She graduated high school during at the end of 2020, right, Valentina? And therefore was in high school during the pandemic. She went to business school online while she was home during the pandemic and came to the United States to come to FIT in 2022. Next is Santina Sumaria. Santina is, oh, and Valentina is 23 years old. Next is Santina Samaria, who's 24 years old. Santina is a digital marketing associate at Natori. She's been there for 3 years, starting as an intern and moving up. She is, you graduated, I think you told me in 2020, am I right? In 2022 from college?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Uh, and Casey Klauger, where are you, Casey?
Right
Okay.
here.
Casey is 28 years old. She's right on the cusp. Casey is an account manager at Circana for the past 1.5 years. She was home during the pandemic, job hunting, began her first job online, and has moved from online to in-house. So that's the introduction. This webinar is going to focus on all three of these ladies' preferred shopping styles. I asked each of them the same questions. We covered the impact of the pandemic, preferred work venues, online shopping, brick and mortar shopping, the impact of social media on shopping decisions, and their perspective on influences, most loved brands, and of course, AI. There was a dichotomy between each of them, but when it came to how and where they shop, the similarities were pervasive. So, we're going to start with my first question, which I know all three of them are going to try to answer. We can start with you, Santina, and move on. What is your preferred, where do you do most of your shopping? Online, in store, and my elephant question, do you go to department stores? And why not? Go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay, so I feel like my shopping habits are kind of all over the place. I personally love an in-person shopping experience, though I may not make my purchase on the spot. I definitely am left thinking about what I want and inspired, and then maybe I'll go research online and see which other brands kind of have something that I have in mind for maybe an occasion or just like a workout set or something like that. Just comparing, different brands in that way. So I definitely get my inspiration from the stores, feeling the fabrics, and then kind of do my online research after that, seeing if there's maybe a more sustainable brand I can get it from, or if there's something that, it's better quality, but also a good price. And then, yes, I do still go into department stores. I was literally in a Macy's last week trying on shoes to make sure my sizes were correct because, again, ordering it online, you never know if something is running small, and I just don't always love to go through the hassle of making returns. Um, and then I also do kind of vintage shopping. There's new apps now where you can actually get on there and post your closet and kind of sell and rent out your pieces, your garments for the day or a week or however long that a customer may be wanting it. So I'm starting to dive into doing that a little more. And I actually recently was at a few events during Fashion Week where a lot of these panels were discussing these rental apps within the city. So I'm really excited to get into that as well because I feel like
What,
it's more circular.
let me ask you one question, which was going to come up later, and then we'll go to the next and I'll come back. Do you buy lingerie online?
Yes.
Okay. And when I say the word lingerie, I'm referring to different aspects of lingerie. There's bras, panties, and then there's sleepwear and casual wear. Do you buy bras online?
Yes.
Okay. Um, do you have a preferred vent brand? You can say.
Notori.
Okay, that's okay.
Well, also, I have other brands too. Like I've shopped from Adore Me and um, Victoria's Secret. I've done in the past, of course. But there's another boutique one. I can't think. It's kind of
No,
French. But yeah, I
well, you
definitely
can come
do
back. You can come back to it
online.
because I'm going to circle around to this whole thing again. So,
Mhm.
and Valentina, how about you? Same question. Where do you do most of your shopping? And do you go to department stores?
I do most of my shopping online, um, mostly because of the convenience, but I am like always on top of checking return policies. Um, when there's something with a shorter return policy or something where I would like to try on before I buy it, that is the probably the only instance where I would go to a brick and mortar store. And I do shop at like standalone brick and mortar boutiques, but I don't go out of my way to do so. Like I would browse around a store if I like stumbled upon it or if I was going to a different store for something specific. But most of my kind of like intentional browsing and shopping is online. And the department store question, I don't go to traditional department stores. I haven't in years. But I do go to off-price department stores, Marshall, TJ Maxx, and Ross a lot.
Oh, that's very interesting. Okay. And Casey,
I can
you?
concur with that.
Good.
I'm going to echo Valentina. I do the majority of my shopping online. I'm very value conscious and I very much stick to brands that I know. That being said, there's a couple exceptions, especially if I need clothes for an event or a situation more immediately. But it's kind of a workaround. You can go along to these online stores and check their inventory directly, and then go to that store and try on that specific item of clothing. I find myself doing that a lot, just because it's like pre shopping before actually shopping, again, because time in mind, I don't have a lot of time or it's a pressing situation. Secondly, also a lot of my sportswear. I'm very big into the gym. I'm a big runner, and shoes specifically need to be fit in person. So I don't go to the traditional department store, more of a sports specialty store, whether it be a mom and pop or a Dick's running shoe store. I'm sorry, Dick's Sporting Goods. That's when I'll actually go to the store and I'll dedicate time to trying on something. But that's kind of the extent at which I go to department stores.
And I want to ask you, and I forgot to ask Valentina, so I need it from both of you. Do you buy lingerie online?
I do.
You do. Bras and panties too? Things that have to be really fit? Or maybe you don't
Yes.
know that they have to be really fit?
Yes. Again, this is kind of where I stick to brand loyalty. A lot of the times I kind of stick to my handful of brands that I've already purchased from and I already know my sizing of. I'm not very big exploratory in new lingerie that I buy online, but I almost buy my lingerie exclusively online.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
And who are some of those loyal brands you're loyal to?
Off the top of my head, I have to shout out Aerie. Aerie has been a long time brand of mine. I just trust the quality. I feel good about purchasing, $40, $50 bra because I know it'll last me for years. Adore Me as well. I remember first shopping with them to, they had a subscription program. So you would get credits every time you had money taken out of your account. So you can kind of shop with, I don't want to say girl math, but the money's already spent. You're just spending your credits. So those are the top two brands I buy my lingerie in from.
Oh, okay. And Valentina, what about you?
I do most of my laundry shopping online. Um, Mostly Victoria's Secret, and since I interned at Natori, I like fell in love with their bras as well. So I've been loyal to those two brands, but I've also like when I want like something like prettier, like more like lacy and stuff, I shop at Bow Avenue because they have like a lot of sales and really good clearance. Um, and oh, I've recently been shopping at Skims too. I've found their quality is pretty good.
Okay. Now, I guess what I'm going to ask you next is uh what the thing that really hit me the most when I spoke to all three of you is the way you use social media to shop. I think this is really fascinating. So, I the in my brain, the macro thing was TikTok is discovery, Instagram is research, and then woven woven unfortunately Amazon is where you go. But I'm sure that varies. So let's start with Santina and just talk me through why and how you use these social media sites to learn about, to learn about a brand.
Well, I would say the advertising of it is very targeted because clearly they just know me
Advertising on what? TikTok?
on TikTok or Instagram
Okay.
stories. Like if I'm
Okay.
just swiping through stories, I'll get an ad and I'm just immediately like, I want to impulse buy on these ads. So I think that kind of gets the consumer in this generation is, and also TikTok Shop is insane. It's like the fastest purchase you could ever make. But my
Can you elaborate? What do you mean by the fastest purchase you could ever make? What
on
elaborate
TikTok
what you mean?
Shop, I
Yeah.
mean, so if you're just scrolling and there's a lot of affiliate marketing on TikTok. And it may not really look like it is, but it is because they always have a link. So as soon as you see something you like, they are selling it to you. Here's this amazing leggings, and here's how it looks on. And it's like instant shopping experience. It's almost like when they used to do those TV commercial ads and you could call and place the order. You literally can just add it to your cart on TikTok and
Oh,
then
okay.
check out with your Apple Pay.
Okay. Okay. Apple again. I
So
never
it's
knew.
another very high conversion rate, I would say.
Okay. All right. And then what about you, Valentina?
I not only am like my purchases are not only influenced by like things I see online, but even when I get an idea to purchase something offline, like from a friend, for example, I will go to TikTok or Instagram to search which one to buy. I think when we were talking about it, I was telling you about the matcha. My friend was my me and my roommate started wanting to make our own matcha. So the first thing I did, I went to TikTok and I said top five matchas from Amazon. And I don't purchase directly from Amazon or from any of the social medias really. I just use it as more of like curating and inspiration. And then I go to other non-social media sites, I guess, to make the actual purchase.
When you say you go to non-social media sites, do you go to the specific site you have now discovered and buy directly from that site? Yeah, if you're not buying in stores and you're buying online, when you actually go to make the purchase, where do you go?
I rarely shop at like brand's website. I like try to prioritize things that I can buy on like Amazon or eBay.
Okay.
Just so I can just like standardize and I know how those platforms and the returns and all that works really well. So I just rather not take the risk.
Okay. And Casey, your insight here?
I feel like I'm going to age myself, but
That's
I'm at
okay.
I'm at the
You are on the cusp.
I am on the cusp, and I'm on the cusp of everybody. I'm at the age now where people are getting married, people are having babies, there's showers, there's weddings, there's bachelorettes. So I find myself using social media to for inspiration, really. I can use an exact example. I'm going to a wedding in Vermont, and the formal attire is country formal. I don't know what that means. I didn't, and I don't think anybody else did, but I immediately went on TikTok, looked up country formal dresses, and I started from there to understand the brands that kind of cater to that style. And then I actually also use social media to try to sort through all the different users and try to find visually somebody who looks like me shape wise and to look at how that style looks on them. And then once I kind of pinpoint that style, that brand, I'll go to that brand's website and I typically purchase directly from that brand. But this is also a formal wear purchase, so I want to invest in the quality of it.
Okay. Now I want to talk about Instagram because after I heard all about discovery on TikTok, you all said research on Instagram on the validity of the product, you know, integrity. I should really say the integrity of the product. That was my take on it. Santina, how about what do you do with Instagram when it's shopping? Is it the same as TikTok, or do you
I don't think it's the same as TikTok
purchase? Huh?
because I feel like Instagram is very aspirational. It's brands, everything that they're kind of doing. Okay, I feel like TikTok is so much more lighthearted and casual, and then Instagram is very like the way that brands present themselves, I feel like is more formal and aspirational.
Is that a problem?
Not really. I don't know. What do you guys think? I feel like we just know that it's like that, and that's why we use both of them for help during our
Oh,
purchase.
okay, Valentina, what do you think in terms of the use of Instagram?
I think I'll go to TikTok for research because I don't think Instagram's like research
The
algorithm is
reviews.
yeah. Um, so I go to Instagram when I like a specific brand. I'll follow the brand just to get like educational content from them and also to get updates on when they drop new products. So Instagram for me personally is a bit more about discovery than research, and then TikTok is research.
Okay, and Casey, your take?
I definitely to echo Valentina in that I find myself, especially because I have weddings coming up and bachelorettes coming up, once I find a brand that I enjoy their clothes from and it kind of fits the theme or fits multiple themes, I'll follow that brand on Instagram. And it feels more of like a serious commitment to being a buyer of that brand. Um, just compared to TikTok, where I feel like, oh, I found it. Now I'm going to go actually follow the content and then have their content directed towards me or in my feed, especially as I'm thinking about purchasing multiple dresses at a time.
I
Okay,
actually have a
go
question
ahead.
too. Do you guys find yourself using Pinterest as well when you're researching like country formal?
I should have asked you about Pinterest.
It's interesting that you say that because I recently just did. I hadn't used Pinterest in years, and then again, I'm entering this age of I like to just call it the weddings, like, or I went to a themed last rodeo, same person with the Vermont country formal. Um, and I found myself just like looking up outfit inspirations. And on Pinterest, one of my favorite parts of that is I can actually go in and find the link for that item. So it's mighty convenient, but I have to say it's only in my recent history that I've gone back to Pinterest.
Yeah, I
And
found that they have made that a lot more shoppable as well.
I'm gonna add something to your mix, being the old guy in the group here. I have a blog, and our number one um, platform, and we have a pretty strong Instagram platform. Our number one platform is Pinterest. We get
That's
up several hundred
interesting.
thousand views a month, and we just put up an item and link it back to, to the brand we've we've overview. We're not selling anything, but we're linking to letting you get to where you need to go. And it's
Mhm.
amazing how productive it is. But anyway, back to what we were doing. I wanted to so you've got this methodology on social media. can you tell me, I mean, you've mentioned a few, Aerie, Natori, whatever. Can you, and I'm very interested, obviously we're a lingerie club, so we're interested in particular on your insights into that. To me, bras are something that have to be fit, but you're not probably at the stage in your life where that level of fit is critical, where you really need somebody professional to tell you what to do, or maybe I shouldn't probably say that, but I'm guessing, okay? And I would like to know like where you go online. I know you mentioned American Eagle, Aerie, I'm sorry. You mentioned Aerie, you mentioned Amazon, you mentioned one of you told me that you actually once loved Target. Was that you, Santina?
I do. And not specifically for lingerie, but yes, I love Target.
Yeah, and I was surprised because they're having their a little bit of issue
Oh,
now.
I know. I've seen that this year.
Okay, so where tell me about influencers, because that was a loaded question that I asked the three of you, and you had some very interesting responses. So I'm going to start with Casey this time because we were all, just to be fair. What's your take on influencers, Casey, and the importance to you in terms of what you learn?
That's a great question because my relationship has changed over the years. And as of right now, I'm almost looking for my first red flags when it comes to coming across an influencer. I can think of one particular beauty influencer that I used to really adore. And what I find is as they get more popular, they get more brand deals, and it almost like saturates their content with like positive reviews. And it's almost like you can tell right off the bat that it's advertisement. So that loses trust for me in influencers. And I find myself being driven towards people who are influencers but are considered more reviewers. And you can tell they're reviewers because they're not being paid to promote a product. They're perhaps being sent the product, no doubt, like for free to be reviewed, but their reviews are diverse. They have the pros, they have the cons. They're not this cookie cutter, like, oh, this is great, we love it, so on and so forth. Because I don't trust those influencers. I prefer and trust the influencers that are a lot more unbiased. Um, that being said, I was doing it for shapewear, since we're talking about
Yeah.
intimates, because I had to get shapewear for a dress for a wedding. And there is an influencer online who actually does specifically Amazon reviews for shapewear. And she does name drop certain ones like inspiration dupes, try to give like, oh, you can go like Skims dupes are super popular. I'm trying to think of another one, not off the top of my head, but it it's almost like some like my own personal shopper. So I like to look for those types of influencers who are kind of doing the dirty work for me, but I also trust them because they're honest.
Okay, Valentina, your take?
Yeah, so I kind of agree with Casey. I also, for influencers, make a distinction in my head between discovery and research. When it I do follow like lifestyle influencers, and I do discover a lot of products through them. And then I do my research on that product. But when it comes to research, for a specific category, I prefer smaller influencers again because they're not getting sponsored or getting paid, and even sometimes bigger influencers, even if they're not getting paid for the reviews, they will talk more highly about a brand just so they can get in their PR lists or things like that. So it's really tough for me, but since we talked, I've been thinking about it and I was able to categorize it like that in my brain.
Okay, great. Santina, do you agree? You have a different point of view?
I think influencers, okay, okay, as a business, I feel like influencers are extremely helpful to a brand. And everything I'm kind of learning is all pretty much calculated when it comes to influencers because everything is, they're getting paid and they're getting contracts and managers. So they have kind of lost their credibility over time. However, I'm finding recently I'm going back to YouTube for different fashion bloggers and whenever I want to see what are the trends that are going to be happening, like those types of YouTuber influencers are really giving you multiple brands, multiple ideas, and different pieces of inspiration to look out for. So I give that a little bit more credibility than like, here's this one brand and this is the one mascara that you need. It's nice to see a lot of options and building
Like you
that
were in
trust with someone.
yeah, like you were in a store. It's
Mhm.
having said that, I have further questions for this, but you're bringing up YouTube, and it's probably the number one most popular platform today in the world, from what I've researched. And video to me is the whole name of the game. When you and live,
Something about
seeing something.
connecting with that
Yeah, yeah,
video.
yeah. So that's an interesting question. I'm going to segue for a second and come back to this because you use the word connecting um, in terms of where you guys work, even though I'm going to go back to social media in a second, because this concept of connection in this technical world that you were born into, but we weren't. There was no such thing as working at home. There was no such thing as hybrid working. There was no such thing as scrolling phones. Santina, you work 100% in-house at Natori, right?
I actually started remote. So I kind of made that decision for myself just because I feel a little bit old school. I think I need that personal connection in person, but I am hybrid, so I can work 1 or 2 days a week from home.
Okay. And what about you, Casey? Are you 100% in or out?
I am 100% out. I started my career remote. I've stayed in my career remote, and I prefer to be remote. That being said, I haven't worked in an office, so I have nothing to compare it to connection wise, but I can tell you that my team and my job actually does a really great job at making us all feel connected because we do converse every day. And I would say probably every other day we're on meetings. And I have to say that also cameras on has made a significant impact on how I feel connected because it just feels a lot more conversational. It's not like I'm talking on the phone. So that's
Okay.
that's my take.
Okay, Valentina, what about you? You haven't, you're still in school, but you still pro
Yeah, I've done a couple internships. They've all been fully in person, except for like particular instances. But I prefer an office just because it's I like my brain is super like spacey, so it just like helps me with like productivity and just like to get in like the work flow mindset. But I do view companies that offer the possibility to be hybrid as a plus. Companies that have the system to be set up just so that maybe if in the future I get pregnant and I decide I want to work from home, I do value that as a benefit that where companies have that flexibility.
Okay.
And I wanted to comment something that I noticed because my partner is also Casey's age, and him and so many of his friends started working during the pandemic, and now they will not do anything but remote. And it's so interesting because it is that group that got used to it and just like will refuse to go into office. Meanwhile, all of like people like 23, 24, 22 year olds don't have that rigid remote mindset, and I just like every time I hear it I'm like, wow, this is a true hypothesis.
I'm just curious from my perspective, how you can feel inspired when you're alone in a room. I don't care if you're on the screen. There's a kind of dynamic that happens when you're human to human. And I'm wondering if you missed that or never had, you must have had it at school. You all must have had it at, school, integrating with people in a group or one-on-one. And you don't find that less inspiring being, left at home?
It's interesting to use the word inspiring because when I think about remote work and why I favor remote work is just how I I'm able to insulate distraction in my room. So I'm not distracted by people and conversations and things happening around me. And that might just be my own personal,
Okay.
quiet, introverted style. But inspiration wise, I don't know anything different than being on a screen and conversing and brainstorming. Um, I'm always interested to see if I was in a room physically with people, if I would feel differently than that.
Okay. I want to continue to go back to the other subject before we go on to this conversation about AI. And I want to ask you, one of you mentioned, and I think it might have been Valentina, I can't remember, um, that one of the things that you really do like is pop-up stores. And you all say you're all nodding your heads. Why? Who wants to go first? You want to go first, Valentina? You brought it up to me first.
Sure. That pop-ups are like the one thing that will get me to go in person. Because I feel like it's direct value to me. Like if I go to a pop-up, I know I'm at least going to get a freebie. If not, I'm gonna be able to take some pictures in a photo booth for my Instagram. I know I'm even if I don't buy anything during the event, I'm definitely gonna get value from it. And it's also like a fun event to do with friends. It really like drives me to leave the house.
Okay, okay. And Santina?
I think they're very special. It's kind of like an experience. Different pop-ups will offer different things. I've went to a Prada pop-up that you can get your picture and it was like an AI thing. You'd be in with Prada space. I don't even know. It was crazy. And then other ones maybe make it more of like a personalized experience where like you can try on different, lipsticks or get your colors done. Or I think it's just like a fun and exciting way
So
to have
you're using,
brands get themselves out there.
so the buzzword there is experiential, which we're hearing a lot about. I mean, even the smart malls are, putting in pickleball courts and, you know, laser tag and all sorts of things that half stores, half experiences in order to respond to this shift in the culture. Is that valid for you too, Casey?
I think absolutely. Santina hit the nail on the head. I think what I've seen in Gen Z in general is the value of the experience and feeling like you're being a part of something. And if you've had this experience with this brand, you kind of have the pics to show for it, you have the freebies to show for it, and you kind of feel like I, I have no other way to say this, but you feel cool, I guess. Like you feel like, oh,
Okay,
like
that's yeah.
I think of one specific. I went to a pop-up shop in Nashville for Tacovas, which is a Western boot brand. But they had hosted, a couple boutique country clothing brands, and they had a free hat fitting, and you could design your own cowboy hat. So I didn't invest in a $500 pair of boots, but I did go to Tacovas, and I'm like, if I ever have the money, I think I'm going to go to Tacovas because they just gave me such a great experience. So they kind of built brand loyalty before I even bought the product.
I got it. That's great.
And
Okay.
there's I feel like there's an added sense of urgency when it's a limited experience as opposed to just like adding a feature to a store that will be there indefinitely. Like I need to go. I know this pop-up lasts a week, but I need to go in the first couple of days so they don't run out of freebies, so I don't forget to go. Um, so that's also why I think.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you a loaded question, which I kind of referred to before. Have any of you ever been professionally, not, I don't call Victoria's Secrets, I don't put them in the same place. Have you ever been professionally fitted for a bra?
Yes. um, I have been. I have family members in the industry.
We know you
So
do.
yeah. And it honestly also became a peak experience of like getting it done and then teaching myself how to do it. So I have a tape measure that kind of now I feel empowered to do so, but that's just my personal experience.
And did you find it enlightening?
I did. And
Okay.
it especially with bras because it's all band size and it's like there's no if, ands, or buts, there's no variation between sizing. Like once you know your size and you kind of know your body as well, if you've grown, if you've shrunk, you can kind
Right.
of gauge from there your sizing. So it's very nice to have those concrete details and the value of getting fitted for a bra is just top tier.
Okay. And what about the other you two? Probably not, right?
I have not, only at Victoria's Secret, like when I was growing up. I have tried to do it myself, but personally my weight like really fluctuates a lot. So I've been like five different bra sizes in the last couple of years. So I just kind of gave up on it and I have like five different sizes and whatever fits that day.
Yeah. But if you went for a professional bra fitting, you'd probably find the bra that could move with your body, but that's another conversation. Um, and Santina?
I desperately need to get fitted professionally.
Okay. Okay. We're not gonna sit there too long. We mentioned some of the brand. I cannot remember, but I remember asking you about a couple of stores that I thought were Gen Z stores. And I know Valentina said I wouldn't be caught dead in one of them. And one of you said, yes, I shopped there, but I can't even remember the name of the stores, Valentina.
It was
Edited was one of them.
it was Addicted and Princess Polly.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you guys you all three familiar with these stores? Can I, because I was told in a webinar I listened to that these were real big Gen Z stores and it was filled with kid people your age and it was so packed and yet I think I did not get that reaction from the three of you. So I just was curious what you think of a Gen Z store.
It's funny because I actually started shopping there when I was like 16 or 17 when they first started. So that was almost 10 years ago. So really, I don't shop there anymore because I went to fashion school and I learned about a lot of different things that go on with the fast fashion industry. But yeah, I used to do that all the time in high school and because I thought they were like really cool online boutiques, very exclusive. And then I kind of realized what was going on after, like a few years later. But I mean, I get why I do. I get why they're
Okay.
popular.
And how about you guys, Casey and
I don't shop there. I haven't shopped there. I think it also speaks to how Gen Z is a value shopper. Fast fashion is kind of out. Overconsumption in general is not trending. It's buying pieces like your capsule wardrobe and buying quality pieces and buying luxury pieces or brands that are, reliable and have great reputations. And because that matters. The like I want to wear a brand that again makes me feel good and I'm proud of. And I don't think those brands that you just mentioned are popular in that way for as many reasons as you can probably Google on the internet.
okay, and Valentina, I'm sure you agree with that.
I think these brands are super polarized. I think the younger Gen Z, unfortunately, there's no one that young here, but um, I've been into those stores here in the city and in Boston, and it's all like middle schoolers, high schoolers. It is booming and they don't care about what goes on behind the scenes. They probably don't have a lot of money to spend. So they're just trying to get the trendiest clothes that they can because they are super good with trends, super fast with trends. So I am sure that that is what they value most. But then for the Gen Z that are like a bit more educated on fast fashion and on like global events, it kind of does taint the perspective on those brands a little bit. That's why I was telling you at FIT, it would be so embarrassing to admit that you own something from them or you're wearing something from them because
Yeah.
all know what that means.
Okay, so I that brings me to one other question before I go into the last one, and that is the importance of inclusivity, quote unquote, and sustainability, quote unquote. And you all gave me a very similar answer, which I was very proud of. But why don't you just, was it you, Casey, who told me that it's expected? It's not even an
Yes.
issue?
Yes. From my perspective, especially it's kind of you separate new brands and old brands. New brands, there is an expectation that you have good work, like human working conditions, and you have sustainable practices. And those new brands, I mean, every brand is at risk for such scrutiny and, wildfire scrutiny, as they say, because one art, like everybody has a phone, there's eyes on the world everywhere. So they can't get away with it. So it's almost like there's no question about it anymore. You either trust the brand or you don't.
Okay. One of you talked to me about Temu. Was it one of you talked to me about Temu? Temu? I
Oh,
forget, or was it
Timu.
Shine? I don't remember which. How you prefer the what I learned a new word from you guys called hull. That you prefer was it you, Casey? I don't remember which one of you guys. One of you talked to me about why you prefer the hulls because you can really see what's going on. And I know it was connected to a conversation that we had about transparency and learning online. You favored a certain brand. I thought it was Temu, and then found out some bad stuff about them. But I don't want to badmouth them if I've got the wrong brand. Was which one of you was that?
I think it was me, and I think I was referring to a brand called Sheen.
Sheen. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
because
I take it
especially
back. Sorry, Temu.
no, because that's also another
Timu is
brand as
similar.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sheen, in the past, again, this is kind of like the trend of Gen Z where overconsumption is not popular anymore. Back in the day, I'm talking pandemic to maybe like 2022, 2023, there were these things called Sheen hauls. And you could have a haul with any brand, but essentially, this creator would purchase a bunch of clothing and then over the course of 60 seconds, try on all that clothing. And Sheen was popular because you could buy pieces for $10, $12, $15. Now, the problem is, and Sheen had a huge scandal because their working conditions were so poor. Again, it kind of speaks to Valentina's point. It was embarrassing to wear a piece of clothing because it wasn't made right or it wasn't made in a good way. So they kind of fell off. And I think that's the conversation we had, Ellen.
Okay. And we also talked about inclusivity, which in our vernacular, inclusivity is you don't have to be, a skinny white, blonde model to like be on Instagram, be on any of these platforms, and that it wasn't even an issue because that's just expected. You don't segregate people like that. It's not. Am I correct with this, Valentina?
Yeah, definitely. I think people are more aware and to a certain point maybe hyper aware because sometimes especially with the inclusivity topic, it can come across as a little bit performative
Yeah.
when you're having a campaign and you're trying to hit every single weight and every single race. It's like, are you really trying to represent or are you trying to get everyone that's looking at your commercial satisfied and quiet?
Okay, that's very well put. I'm going to move on to the last question I want to ask you because I think we have a few questions in the chat. Um, and that's about AI, which we talked about last week, and how you use it. Santina, can you start and we'll go through because you all use it a little differently, and I found it interesting.
Well, I use
To
AI.
shop. I mean, I was asking you how do you use it? Do you use it to shop? And if you don't, how do you use it?
Mhm. I use AI a lot every day, but for shopping purposes, like I use it for work all the time. For shopping purposes, I feel like it would really just be giving like advice. I don't know if I use it technically for clothing shopping, but maybe food, like recipes, getting recipes, asking it different, I have these ingredients, what can I do? And then actually I got this app that's like a styling app where you kind of just take pictures of your clothes and then AI will give you style options for it.
That's
So
interesting.
I kind of got it just because I just want to see what it would tell me, but um I feel like I should be able to style my clothes on my own, but still I want to know more about it. So just always getting educated more on AI because it is going to be the future for sure.
Okay, and
Oh, also, I
oh,
think
sorry,
there's
go ahead.
I just thought of something else for AI. Um, like doing, I feel like for that will happen in the future are 3D body scans of like getting your size perfect. So like you said, maybe with the bras, I don't know how you do that, but
Well, some people do that.
yeah, like I think that that could be something in the future that happens with AI of like scanning and then getting your perfect size.
Okay, okay. And what about you, Valentina?
Um, I like seek like I go to a specific like AI site like Chat GPT for shopping for a really particular situation where I don't have a lot of knowledge in the category and I want a really specific product. For example, I do it for skincare. I will go on ChatGPT and I'll be like, I need a cleanser that's safe for sensitive skin, that is not acne prone, and it's Korean beauty. And then it'll give me a list. But other than that, I don't really use AI. But I've realized that a lot of the features that I use on when shopping for clothing are AI, like reverse image search, or Amazon has this like bot where you can ask it questions about the product features and it'll like answer with AI. So I do use it a lot in that
Okay,
sense.
okay. And what about you, Case?
So I do use AI, and I think I use it more for understanding a brand's history or a brand's reputation. And I also want to note that I just have a background in machine learning, and there are so many different AI interfaces, and AI uses what's web scraping. That's the mechanism, and everyone's web scraping mechanism is proprietary. So how they get the results is specific to each interface. Chat GPT is a common one. Google AI, I'm sure we've all seen it. Google AI gives you a mixed bag of results. Sometimes they're completely wildly inaccurate. I use an interface called Claude. Claude also incorporates reviews, blogs, news articles, also media based, so YouTube and TikTok. I feel that Claude, if I'm researching a brand, will give me a great splurt of what that brand is about and the reputation of that brand, specifically in the way it takes in reviews of a product or reviews of a brand. It saves me a lot of time of when researching the brand. If I could just get a little blurb of particularly this brand Mango. Mango's been around 10 years and they've never had any controversies. Like they're not well known in the media, but they seem to have great reviews and they seem to be pretty popular and they've grown steadily over the past 10 years. So that's how I use AI.
Okay,
Is that
thanks.
an app or is
It,
that just a
it's
browser?
it's a browser and it's an app.
Okay.
It's great.
Okay, we just got a very interesting question from one of the viewers, and it's for each of you. She would like to know if you could make one wish from the intimate from an intimate apparel retailer, lingerie retailer, obviously, that would make your life easier, what would it be? It's a loaded question, but and I know you don't go to specialty lingerie stores except, because you're online, but what would make what would make you want to go back to that store? What would make your life easier shopping for lingerie? Let's put it that way.
This might already be done, but this is what comes immediately to my mind. Occasion to be how intimates or lingerie organized by occasion and comfort. So if it's lingerie that's meant to be a standalone, if it's lingerie that's supposed to be everyday sleepwear, or lingerie that's supposed to be occasional sleepwear, everyday bras. And I know there's multiple brands that organize that way, but if we could incorporate, I'm thinking AI here. Like if I could find
Okay.
like if the intimates apparel or a brand could organize it by if I could find sleepwear that I can wear daily and it's sexy or if it looks nice. Like I would love to see that incorporation or it more distinguished as I'm shopping.
Uh, okay, let's get everybody, then okay. What about you, Valentina?
One thing that came to mind is specifically for people that do shop for most of their like lingerie online. I don't know if this exists already, but like trial kits for sizing. When you don't want to go anywhere to get fitted and you want to get a better gauge of your size. I know glass like eyeglasses companies do this where they will send you a box with a bunch of eyeglasses and then you pick the one you like and then send the rest back. Or a sizing kit that is like, I don't know, some sort of cups or something that you ship me and I can know my size better without having to do the whole measurement because I don't really trust myself to do that. Something where I can try different sizes at home in some way. Um, I think that would be helpful.
Does the eyeglass company charge you for all those glasses until you return them?
I am not sure how the pricing works. I just know that's a thing.
Okay. Okay. And you, Santina?
I mean, I wish, I guess I would wish, like Valentino was saying, just like the sizing. Maybe there could be a way that you could 3D body scan or somehow scan to know the perfect bra size. I don't know of any company that does that yet, but
Well, there are a couple, but I don't know how well they work. But there are a
yeah.
couple doing it. I can talk to you about it
Or
offline.
maybe like a magic sticky bra that could be used so many times and it just never breaks or never goes gross.
Right, right.
A
Yeah, no,
magical
that's a
sticky bra would be great.
yeah. Okay. Uh, is there anything else from the group? I think we're done here. Okay, do you guys have anything else you want to contribute to the conversation?
Do we have any other questions
I think I just,
from maybe from the chat? Are there any?
I think I answered most of them
Okay.
in the context of the webinar. Do you, I guess the main thing is, I would love to know, we've mentioned a lot of brands that you shop for, but I'm surprised I'm surprised that the only brand that like serious, well, I don't want to say serious brand, not fair, um, is Notori, because Notori is, in my opinion, in an ilk, it's in a different ilk than Victoria's Secret or um, Adore Me. It didn't start as an online business. It started as an in-house lingerie business. They do have a website that's very beautiful. But I wonder if when you bring up, are there any other brands that you're familiar with that are are in that category, or you really don't have that exposure yet? I mean, what about, I'm throwing brands out there, but what about Wacol? What about
Third love.
Chantel? What about,
Hmm.
Be Tempted? What about Felina? I mean, there's a lot of brands out there that none of you have mentioned any of and that you don't seem to be familiar with. And I'm surprised, even though,
I feel like, yeah, I feel like lingerie is such a, what's the word I want to look for? Not like sensitive, like personal. I don't know. I just feel like it makes you just want to be like loyal. You find the brand, you stick to it. You're just like loyal to that brand
yeah,
right away
I,
because if you like
I
their
can,
underwear,
right. I can share.
it's
Do you guys, are you familiar with Hanky Panky?
mhm.
Do you buy them? No?
I love hanky panky.
I haven't
They
tried.
they are on the more expensive side when I think of purchasing underwear, but quality wise and comfort wise, they've never failed me. I'm pretty sure in that realm, across
Okay,
the
so
board, they're my favorite.
what I'm hearing here is that there's it's a price point issue. You might be more familiar with the brands I'm speaking about if your pocketbooks were a little bit more full.
Yeah, but
Okay,
I also don't really get advertising for new brands. Whether it's like from actual targeted advertisement on social media or influencers, I don't really hear about new intimates brands often, really.
that's interesting. Okay. All right. Well, I want to thank you all for doing this. It's been recorded, so it's going to be up on the Under Fashion Club website. And if you're not a member of the Under Fashion Club, you should join, and you will hear about these brands. Uh, so thank you very much. I
Ellen,
think.
there's a question in the chat
Oh,
by
well,
Sonia.
oh, well, wait a minute. Why don't I see that? Hold on. I thought I.
I can read it if
Oh,
you want.
oh, I do see it. What turns you off? Sonia asks, what turns you off shopping on a brand's website? That's a great question. Why, what makes you leave the website when you're on it? What do you not like?
Functionality, search, speed.
When you say functionality, are you talking about how the website is set up, moves
Yeah.
along? Okay. And when you say search, are you saying that you search and it doesn't get you where you want to go, or
Yeah, or if the pages aren't merchandised correctly, like you know that they have more stuff than that, but it's not all on that category page. Like maybe if it's like short dresses and it's just showing you like a few short dresses, but you know they're like a dress brand or something.
yeah,
So that would be something that would turn me off right away.
okay,
Um, because it's not convenient for me to be like this. I know what I want in my head, but this site isn't offering it to me. So I feel like
okay, okay.
that would be a tough one.
And you guys, Valentina, you have a point of view here?
Yeah, checkout is a big thing for me. I could have spent like an hour on your website and have a full cart that I'm so excited about, but if I go to checkout and you don't offer PayPal or you don't offer Apple Pay and I have to go get my wallet and get my card and put in my card info, manually put in my address, I'll just like I many times I just won't do it. And I'll just go to Amazon where all my card info and my address and everything else is just it's there already.
I know how you feel. Okay, Casey, and you?
My mind immediately went to the aesthetic of the website. If I look at the website and it doesn't look professionally done, or if it doesn't look easily navigatable, um, I I won't waste my time. If I look at it and it feels, honestly, if it looks cheap or if it looks like it's a Wix website and
Like
it's
not
thrown together by someone,
trustworthy.
yeah, I don't trust the brand because they're not presenting themselves in a way that I'm impressed.
Sometimes it feels kind of scammy. Like, is this the
Yes.
real website or is someone gonna take my money?
Yeah.
Okay, that was a great question. Any more questions from the group before I have everybody say goodbye? Uh, I don't know if I see any more. I think that might be it. Okay. Okay, guys, thank you very much for your time. It was great talking. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, okay. That's just a thank you. Thank you very much, guys. It was
Yeah,
great
thank you
meeting
all. It
all
was
of
so
you.
nice meeting all of you and a great conversation.
And we'll maybe I'll be getting in touch with you again for some other information, okay? All right. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Ellen.
Oh,
Thank
wait,
you
wait,
all.
wait. Let me make sure. Oh, okay. I keep seeing more things show up there. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Have a good night.
Thank
Okay,
you.
bye.